Welcome to another of Chem'S feature, Farming Today. Today we'll be specifically looking at Chem'S virus control strategy for use in your peppers, tomatoes, and other solanaceous crops. I'm your presenter, Dennis Leckie, Product Development Agronomist for the Northeast region, and let's get going. What is a virus? A virus is a submicroscopic, which means basically that it's too small to even be seen with a microscope, infectious agent that replicates only inside the body of a living organism. Now, viruses are most farmers' major concern, especially when producing vegetable crops such as your sweet peppers, your tomatoes, your watermelon, and other solanaceous crops. Some viruses are seed-borne, which means that they could be, the plant could actually have that infection from a seed stage. And this makes it important for farmers to ensure that you get your seeds from reputable sources. These reputable sources will have to ensure that the plants are not infected with the virus before they harvest the seeds for sale to you, the farmer. Some important virus facts. Viruses tend to be transmitted by insect vectors. Viruses cannot be expelled from plants, and therefore the plants cannot recover from the viral infection. However, most importantly, the symptoms of the viral infection can be treated, and with that treatment, you'll actually be able to earn from your crop. Viruses can be prevented, or the risk of infection can be reduced by controlling the insect vectors that actually transmit these viruses. Now, the types of viruses. Tomato Gemini virus. This one is actually transmitted by whiteflies and aphids, and the crops mainly affected by this are tomatoes and peppers. The tomato yellow leaf curl virus, more popular known to us as the Jerry curl virus, is transmitted by whiteflies and aphids, and this is predominantly seen in tomatoes. The tomato spotted wilt virus, and this is transmitted by thrips, and this also is focused mainly in tomatoes. The tobacco mosaic virus, main host would have been tobacco. However, it also infects your tomatoes, your peppers, your cucumber, etc. And this is transmitted by whiteflies, thrips, and aphids. More specifically though, today we'll be focusing on the tomato yellow leaf curl virus and our interactions with Mr. Rudolph Johnson. Now, typically, a plant that is infected with the tomato yellow leaf curl virus, Jerry curl virus, you'll see stunting of the plant. So instead of getting a nice well-developed plant getting taller over time, you'll see the plant being very short and not elongating. Upwards curling of leaves, so the leaves will actually curl in on themselves, hence you have that curl in the name, in the yellow leaf curl virus. You'll see chlorosis, which gives pretty much the yellowing, so hence the tomato yellow leaf curl virus. Reductions in your leaf size, so instead of having a big broad leaf to absorb as much sunlight as possible for photosynthesis, you'll actually start to get very small leaves. Flower and fruit drop, so if it is that the infection takes over the plant in the productive stage, you'll actually have abortion of fruits and abortion of flowers as well. Then that will result in overall loss in production of your crop. Now, the impact of the yellow leaf curl virus, it will virtually eliminate all of your food production, especially when the plants are infected in an early stage. Typically like in the first 4 weeks that the infection would start to show itself, then that will severely limit your overall production, pretty much carrying it well down below 20%. Now, for this viral infection, likewise other viral infections such as your tobacco mosaic virus, your Gemini virus, etc. AgChem has developed over time, with the help of the other agronomists here, an overall virus treatment program that can be used by the farmer over a 4-week period, where you do these treatments in sequence. And what it will do, as I said, it will not eliminate the viral infection, but what it does is reduces the symptoms, the effects of the virus, and gives the plant the chance to produce as much as possible under the circumstances, to help you, the farmer, to recover your investment and even make some profit on that. So in week 1 of the virus treatment program, our Miller cytokine, which is our hormone mix, this pretty much at 10 mils per gallon, is actually going to help push the plant to put out more branches, all right, push the plant into flowering and fruiting stage, so that you can actually start to reap much sooner. Because using the cytokine, or even our cytoplex, what happens is that the plants will actually come into production a full 2 to 4 weeks earlier than normal. And this is an added benefit for the farmer, especially when you're fighting back a virus that is trying to take over the entire plant. Our Miller Green Stem now is our anti-stress treatment, pretty much. So the plant is under stress because it is fighting a viral infection. You know, similar to when you are fighting in the common cold. Your body's under stress. You need that supplement, that anti-stress supplement, to help you to fight it off and get better sooner. So that's what the Green Stem will assist in. Our Microplex, which is a very important component of the virus treatment program, because a lot of the micronutrient deficiencies due to the virus taking over the plant, you'll start to see them. So you know, your magnesium deficiency, your iron deficiency, boron deficiency, calcium deficiency, etc., all of those will start to show themselves due to the effects of the virus taking over the plant. Our Miller Nutrient Express, which is pretty much our blossom booster. The Nutrient Express 44127 at 30 grams per gallon. What that does now is that it forces the plant node into full productive activities. So it's going to be pushing out those flowers. Whatever fruits are on the plant, it's going to be pushing those fruits to get bigger and to mature much faster. Omex Bio 20 is our 2020 product. However, because of the seaweed extracts in it, it actually helps to push the plant to produce more roots, and the rooting and increased rooting, you know, helps the plant takes up more nutrients, more water, etc. So it helps actually boost the plant to produce and to grow, even though it's under this kind of stressful condition. Caprid. Now Caprid is important because you have to control the insect vectors, and our white flies, our aphids, or thrips that might infect your plant. You know, you need to keep their populations very low in order to ensure that you have no further spread of the disease into plants that were not infected as yet. Bellis. Now we use Bellis at our excellence rate, and you know Bellis is a fungicide, but at the excellence rate of 16 grams per gallon of water, what you get is an actual push in the plant from the Bellis actives to increase production and make better usage of the nutrients that you're giving the plant to produce more. And one of the side effects of the virus infection is that it weakens the plant's immune system, and as such other fungal infections now. So we have the viral infection from the tomato yellow leaf curl or the tobacco mosaic, but other fungal or even bacterial infections could come in because the plant's immune system is weak. It can't fight off these diseases, and then as such you end up losing lots of production right there, and the plant might even die because of the infection of, say, something like a late blight, or early blight, a downy mildew, fusarium wilt, or a phytophthora infection. And then one very important thing in all of our applications of chemicals, we recommend that you use an adjuvant, or most farmers say a sticker. In this case, we used exit, and exit we used because primarily we're using a lot of products that are systemic in nature, and exit actually helps to open up the plant's leaves and allow these systemic products to get into the plant much faster. And then, with using exit, if you have a rainfall event 15 minutes after you finish applying, you don't have to worry. The exit will get it into the plant and hold it there even if you have the rainfall events occurring. On our second week of treatment now, we use our Miller cytokine once again, and this time we also come in with our Miller ZMC Express. And the ZMC Express is zinc, magnesium, and calcium. That are the main ingredients in that. So we ran Microplex the last treatment, ZMC Express the other treatment, which also is another important part of our viral control strategy. Once again with our Nutrient Express, our Bio 20, and this time also we used Cure as our insecticide to help control the pest populations, and then once again with the bellies at the excellence rate. Importantly, at this point I just want to say we use the bellies excellence rate because at the time that we met up with Mr. Johnson, his plants were about 3 to 4 weeks old when they started to show symptoms of the Jerry curl virus, and that would be the perfect time to introduce the bellies excellence program. So we decided do a full all-out program, bellies excellence, virus control, nutrition, and get the plants producing as much as possible in a shorter period of time. Week 3, we rotated through to another insecticide, our Indicarb, along with bellies treatment again. This time we also used Omex Fortify, which Fortify is very good because it's high in phosphorus and potassium. But an important thing about the phosphorus in Omex Fortify is that it has both phosphates and phosphites. Now the phosphites are actually very good and are used as a fungicide in other countries. So we have both the phosphates, which is in nutrients, and the phosphites, which also help to act as a fungicide, added protection for your plant right there. Once again with the Miller cytokine, as well as our Microplex flagship product right there again in the virus program. Now in week 4, we rotated through to another one of our fungicides, Zampro. So our bellies excellence treatments would have completed that the week before. Now we have introduced our Zampro, rotated back also into Caprid, continuing with our Fortify, but at this time now, because we have flowers, we have fruits, we'll come in with our Calmax B, which has very high in calcium as well as boron. The calcium to help with our flower fruit development, boron for fruit morphology as well as flower morphology and development. Our Miller cytokine once again to help also push the production, and our Microplex once again. But as I've been mentioning, one of our major products in the virus control strategy, I'm just going to give you a little more in-depth knowledge on it, is Microplex. And it's pretty much for all farmers. Once your crop has reached into that peak productive state, or if it is fighting fungal, viral, bacterial diseases, a lot of the micronutrients in the plant, and even many of our soils might be deficient in some of these micronutrients. This is a very good product to incorporate into your program once every 2 weeks at least. And if you find that you have severe deficiencies, once a week, applying the Microplex is key. So key ingredients in our Microplex: magnesium about 5.4%, iron 4%, manganese 4%, zinc 1.5%, copper 1.5%. Copper also helps to fight off your bacterial infections. Our Sulcox, one of the major ingredients in the Sulcox is copper. copper hydroxide. Boron 0.5% and cobalt 0.5%. At this time now we'll give you a video presentation with Mr. Rudolph Johnson, the farmer, who we did the program with, and you can see for yourself his experience and hear his testimonial, and then after that we get back into the presentation. Welcome to another one of our series, AgChem Live, our Farming Today production. Today we're on a farm of Mr. Rudolph Johnson from Decoy in St. Mary. Now Mr. Johnson is a top shelf tomato farmer. Mr. Johnson has been farming tomatoes in this area for many years, maybe more years than I've been alive. And he has a wealth of knowledge and experience in tomato production. Now here today, he had a problem. And his problem was tomato yellow leaf curl virus, more popularly called Jerry curl virus. Now, when we met Mr. Johnson about 2 months ago, Mr. Johnson had tomato plants about 4 weeks old. Now they started to show symptoms of Jerry curl. At that point in time, Mr. Johnson was in full panic mode, pretty much ready to uproot all his plants. We had a discussion with Mr. Johnson and said maybe we could offer some treatment to help him to reclaim some of his money spent and not lose the entire crop. So at which time we introduced him to the AgChem virus control program. Now the virus control program is not exactly to treat or cure the virus, we should say. It is to help reduce the effects of the virus on the plants and allow them to produce so that the farmer himself can earn good income from his crop. Now, the crop itself here, after treatment, we found that within 2 to 3 weeks, we started to see flowering as well as fruit set. And as a result of that, Mr. Johnson has been able to reap, thus far at this point, 4 weeks of reaping. And he still, based on the look of the crop, has at least another 2 to 3 weeks of reaping left. And Mr. Johnson, can you share with us your experience using the program?
Yes, will do. Just to rename myself, Rudolph Johnson. They call me the tomato doctor in this region because tomato is my passion and I love to plant tomato. However, I bought this new type of tomato, planted the tomatoes. The tomatoes were looking good up to 4 weeks. It seems as though some expert hairdresser has gotten away in the field and Jerry curl every last one of them. I was disappointed, angry. So I get in touch with a very good friend, Mr. Lecky, that works at AgChem. And I told him my plight. He says, don't worry, I'm coming over. Came over, looked at it, he analyzed it, and I was about to pull up every last one and throw them in the garbage. He said, no, have a little patience. We have something. And he believed that it would work, and he convinced me. So I say, all right. I did the first application, and within the second week, I did the second application. Within 3 weeks, I can say to you that I've seen just reward of the application. However, I sprayed the thing, and we continue to treat them. I have reaped over 2,000 pounds of tomatoes out of this field, and I believe I have another 1,500 pounds to reap. So where this chemical is concerned, I would recommend it to rich man, poor man, beggar man, thief, and farmers. So without any further ado, back to you, Mr. Lecky.
All right, and one of the things about the virus control program and what we tried to do is that we alleviate the pressures that the virus would put on the plant. So what we did, we ensured that we provided micronutrients to the plant, which would be in deficiencies. So you'll start to see the curling of leaves, so we treated that. We ensured that we controlled the insect pest population as well, because we know we have white flies and aphids that are major pests in tomato, and they also stress the plants and spread the disease to other plants. We also ensure that we control mites and the mite population because they stress the plants, stink bugs, etc. So we ensure that we had that. We incorporated also in the spray program our Bellis Excellence program, and that is where we use Bellis at 16 grams per gallon of water, 3 spray cycles, in order to help boost the production of the tomatoes as well and prevent the fungal diseases. We also incorporated our Milan Omex products, our Omex Calmax B, our Omex Fortify, our Miller Nutrient Express, as well as our Miller Cytokine, which is a plant hormone to help push the plants also further into more production. We also ensured that we kept the fertilizer. We incorporated our Elixir fertilizer, which is our newest fertilizer available on the market for use in the crop.
I'm reaping tomatoes now. On an average, 8 tomatoes, and this is how much I know about tomatoes. 8 tomatoes this size would weigh a pound. This tomato, 6 weighing a pound. And if you look, I'm taking tomatoes off these 3. Here's a lovely bunch. And beside that, I counted 90 tomatoes on one tree. Sometimes I get 100. Here are a lovely bunch right here. I'm reaping off this. And I'm reaping off this one here. Now my hands are full of lovely, ripe tomatoes, freshly harvested. And I would suggest to farmers, do not try to pick your tomatoes too green. Let it turn. When it turns on the tree, they will not swivel when they ripe. You know, they call it swivel up. It will not. When you reap them half ripe, you get a good shelf life of your tomato, and they are mouth-watering good. So this is what the chemical has done. And all I did was to spray them 3 times as instructed. The chemical is wonderful. It does not burn the fruit, and it gives them a sheen. If you look at these in my hands, you could see a nice sheen on them, which is important for the plant. When the buyers see these, they go after them because it fills their need, and like they say, it full the eye.
Okay, so here are some of Mr. Johnson's tomato plants showing the typical tomato yellow leaf curl virus symptoms. Notice the curling of the leaves, the discoloration. Many times what will happen due to the plant being under this kind of stress, you'll have premature flower and fruit drop, as well as an increase in incidence of fungal diseases such as late blight. So one of the things that we did is to ensure that first and foremost we boost the plant's immunity to help ensure that we get the production out. Through doing that, we use products Cytokine, Green Stem, Nutrient Express, Omex Calmax B, Miller Nutrient Express, as well as even Bellis for the excellence effect, which has helped to give us increases in production. We also ensured that we took care of all of the pest problems that the crop might be facing. So our stink bugs, our mites, aphids, whiteflies, thrips, we made sure to get rid of all of those common pests that would affect the tomatoes and cause losses. Furthermore, our Bellis also provided the fungal treatment to ensure that we limited the effects of late or early blight issues, as well as other fungal diseases such as downy mildew or powdery mildew. What you can see here are full clusters with 5 to 6 tomatoes per cluster. each tomato cluster, you can see the progressive development from a younger cluster going up to from older clusters going up to younger clusters all the way up to where you have flower set. So even with the severe jerry curl issues, we're still getting very good fruit and flower set and no abortions. So one of our major products included in the program is also our microplex, which provides most micronutrients that the plants would need. So for example, your iron, magnesium, calcium, etc., which many farmers tend to neglect in their crop program, in their crop fertilizer program. And it also results in curling of the leaves and deformity in your fruits, etc. Okay, here are some pictures now from our plot, some before and after pictures. So our tomato yellow leaf curl virus before, pictures you see basically the curling of the leaves, the yellowing of the leaves. You know, you're not getting the full production from the plants. But then when we go after, you see very healthy looking leaves. The fruits are developing well. You know, you have the plummy tomato shapes. The colorations are nice. You have no discoloration in your fruit, even in the ripe fruits. No spots on them, you know, no blemishes, nothing like that, which is perfect for the market. And Mr. Johnson got extremely good yields out of his tomato plot. You know, where to the point that for him himself, it was almost as if the infection of the jerry curl virus did not have any kind of significant effect on his crop in terms of production. And then some precautions to farmers. Please ensure, all right, that you purchase virus-free plants, right? And so your nursery operators, this is important for you. If you see that your plants, your seedlings, are coming down with what appears to be any kind of viral infections, please don't supply that to the farmers, but farmers inspect your plants as well. Ensure that your seedlings, you're not getting any other weeds coming up in the seedlings. And in your plot too, be careful and ensure that you remove what we call perennial weeds, weeds that would be there year to year. Because a lot of these weeds actually act as hosts for the various viruses that may be out there. So a farmer with pepper or tomato, you don't want to have tobacco plants growing in the same field or adjoining that field, because tobacco is the primary host of the mosaic virus, and then you have that tobacco plant there, the insect pests feed on the tobacco, go and feed on your tomato or your peppers and infect them, and then you're suffering losses right there. Wash your hands often and disinfect your garden tools, your stakes, because the viruses can be spread through human activity. And important here, one of the major things that we advise farmers on here at Chem'S is that smoking and handling your plants, you know, is a no-no. A lot of farmers smoke tobacco or marijuana, and they handle those plants, and then they go and handle their cash crops, their tomatoes or peppers, and then spread the disease right there. So even your clothing, your tools that you use from one field to the other, if you have an older field that is infected with a viral infection, and then a young field that is coming up, the same tools that you're using in one, if you're going to use it in another field, you have to wash and disinfect them to ensure that you don't have that cross spread. And then you avoid working during damp conditions, because viruses are easily spread, especially when the plants are wet. So you're having a lot of rainfall or in the early morning, try to avoid doing much work that time with them, because you may be spreading the virus right there. So let's run a quick recap. And right here, what we just want to ensure that you know, the viruses themselves, you cannot cure the virus, but you can treat your plants to get the production from them. Important in trying to ensure that you don't have the virus getting into your field or limiting its spread in your field. Try to ensure that you control the vectors, so your thrips, your aphids, your whiteflies. you ensure that if you find a plant that is infected, you remove it as quickly as possible from that field. Ensure that you get your seeds and seedlings from reputable sources, people who you trust, and who has a track record of producing healthy seedlings or healthy seeds for you to plant. Keep your field as clean as possible, because the weeds within and around your field actually act as hosts for a lot of these pests that might be carrying the virus that might infect it. And then the final thing is run with the AgChem virus control program. I guarantee you'll be pleased by the results that you get by using this program based on our recommendations to ensure that you get the production that you desire. And then an important thing, we have some product development agronomists right throughout the island. Myself in the Northeast region. However, you can make contact with Dane Parker in Clarendon and Manchester, which is a central region. Dale Smith out there in the northwest, from Hanover back to Trelawney. John I. Johnson in the southeast, which would take into account St. Catherine, St. Thomas, and Kingston and St. Andrew. And my boy Sion Spence, who is in St. Elizabeth and Westmoreland. I want to thank you for joining us, for taking the time out to watch this video, and join us for more videos to come. Good day.